Welcome to Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi, a podcast that showcases people you may not know who are choosing to use their gifts to inspire and move the planet.
Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Out of Savannah. I am so excited to have my guest, Megan Marie, here. She is going to share with you who she is and what it is that she does and how she can help you. So Megan, take it away.
Thank you, Tammi. Thank you for having me here. So I am Megan Marie. I am getting ready to launch Peace, Love, and Light Healing. A little background about myself. So I grew up in a traumatic environment. I had two narcissistic parents. I have experienced physical, mental, verbal, emotional, sexual, and financial abuse. Which led me down a wild rabbit hole. Ended up marrying a narcissist, realizing that I created the same life that I thought I had escaped. And in that tower moment of how am I getting here, when I realized everything was an illusion, everything that I thought I had built, I really had to focus on me. And you know what, as I actually got angry with a lot of people who were like, you have to take accountability. You have to. And I was like, how do I take accountability for what I went through in my childhood? Not what child asked to be beat? What child asked, to be any of that? But through my spiritual healings, I learned that no, I did have to. But because, of focusing on our inner wounds, the mother wound, the father wound, our child wounds, the inner child, the inner teen, and of course, we all know that the list can go on. But doing that, I realized where that pattern comes from, where it is those behaviors. And it does come down to that you have to acknowledge. That was one of my biggest things. I didn't acknowledge. I didn't want it to be real. And that held me back so much. But you have to acknowledge it to be able to heal from it. And that took me a long time to understand. But once I did that, it did kind of start to flow. It all kind of started to make sense. And getting to the point of being able to recognize even where some of these wounds were activated at certain ages, certain situations, embracing my spiritual, but also realizing, so I am launching Peace, Love, and Light Healing, because you first have to find the peace. You have to find peace within you. You have to find love. You have to return that self-love that you gave away. You have to return love back to yourself. And then you find the light. You really find that light of spirituality, and then the healing can begin. And so that is my mission, is to help also. So I'm a spiritual intuitive mindset coach, because a lot of it comes down to mindset. You have to. I didn't think I did, but I did live in that victim mindset for many, many years. Being personal, for years, I just saw the scars and the bruises. I saw the words. I saw the hate and the anger every time I looked in the mirror. I never saw me, not to sound a little, but I am an attractive woman, and I've always been an attractive woman, but I never saw that. I never saw that. People would tell me all the time, oh, you're so pretty. And I'd be like, no, like, what are you looking at? We're looking at the same thing, but that's what I saw. I used to wear so much makeup, to cover up the bruises and to hide from myself. And it took a lot of, mirror work, affirmations, mantras, to where now I finally see me. I see me because I peeled off all those layers, all of that debris. When that tower came over me, I finally was able to see me, and it has been a beautiful journey. And so I want to help others. I want to serve others who have been in those type of traumatic of, it continues to go. Like with my childhood, there aren't any points in my life that I can say like this. It was concurrent.
Yes.
Every memory goes with it. And that was so hard to confront that shadow, so hard. And so I think with that experience, of all those, plus eating disorders, I was bulimic for a while. All of it, I can relate to anyone. I can relate to whoever is in some type of situation. And I think that I can help be that guiding light for them. And so
Yes.
I'm ready to
Yes.
launch.
Yes. I'm so excited about that because it sounds like you would definitely be the person to help people that have been through, just like you said, concurrent trauma.
Yeah.
Because so many times you can pinpoint different times in your life when certain things happen that may have changed the trajectory of your life. But then there are other times, just like you said, where it was so concurrent you can't really pinpoint,
Yeah.
because it just was a continuous thing. It just happened all the time. It was a life that you lived, and you learned that that was your life at that time.
Yeah.
So breaking free from that, when was the first time that you felt like, or when you knew that this was not normal?
It was probably right before I decided to separate from my ex-husband. He was traveling at that time, like 3 weeks out of the month. And my kids, like I started noticing like how when he wasn't home, we were happy. We were happy. There was laughter, there was love, there was. And when he would get home, all of a sudden I noticed a change in my children's eyes. I noticed that they weren't smiling anymore. And it was kind of like, what's going on? Like, because I'm still here. Like, so
Yes.
what's this change? Like, what? And I mean, that's kind of how naive I was that anything was even wrong. And so
Yes.
I had that kind of like, huh,
Yes.
okay. Well, then I kind of started looking back at things, certain things, even artwork that my kids were doing in school at that time and certain
Yes.
stories. And I was like, wow,
Yes.
I have recreated the life I didn't want.
Yes.
But I was married to a great psychopath narcissist.
Wow.
That psychological game is real.
Yes, it
And
is.
you have to, once you start to recognizing that, because it was my normal. That is the sad reality, is that this craziness that was going on, it was my normal. It was what was programmed into me from a very young age. There
Yes.
there is no memory of it not being there.
Wow.
And so it was finally, I deserve more, but it wasn't just I deserve more, they deserve more.
Yes. Yes. That is so real. That's so real. So on your journey, when you started seeing this, what type of things did you start doing when you recognize this? Because many times I know that when we start seeing that stuff and we recognize it, it causes a fire to burn in us, and we start looking for, what is the thing that I need to do to make me feel better, or to make create the shift. So
Honestly, at first, nothing, because I still didn't want to acknowledge it.
gotcha.
That was a while. But what I did start doing is I started making plans for a divorce.
Gotcha.
That was one thing, is like I did put out to the universe, like I deserve more, I deserve better. But I also didn't have the tools. I didn't have the skills. I didn't know. I didn't at that time. The word narcissism wasn't a widely used word. So I wasn't empowered with words. I wasn't empowered with
Right.
I just knew a whole bunch of craziness was happening. But to like
Gotcha.
actually label it and to put it into something, even through therapy, because I was in therapy at that time, no one empowered me onto it. And even years before that, like him and I had done marriage counseling, and which made it worse, which that is a sign with which that's a sign with a narcissist, is that counseling makes it worse. And it just became, your stupid counselor, because the counselor was calling him out on stuff, but the counselor never educated me as to, hey, this is what you're going through. And so I wasn't ever given that support, and so I was really on my own. And it was kind of like, I didn't know what I was battling, I didn't know what I was fighting, I just knew that it wasn't. it wasn't right. And so for 2 years, I can honestly sit there and say that I struggled and struggled and I struggled trying to find any type of light or anything like that. It kind of put me a little darker
So
onto it.
did you feel like you needed permission?
That's a great question. Something I haven't actually ever thought about. I don't think it was that I felt that I needed permission. It was just the fact I didn't know how. Like, I didn't know how, because as a kid, with the abuse, like, if you don't think like I didn't turn like my parents into, like the child protective services and stuff like that, I did. Nothing ever happened. So it was anytime I ever spoke up, and that also goes a lot with like my teenager and my inner child being suppressed.
Yes.
Anytime I went and I spoke up about it, there was a repercussion.
Right.
There
and so
was
that's
some
what you
type.
learned.
That is what I learned, that if you
Right.
spoke up about it, there was. And so it was
There
trying to work
was
through it,
consequences. Yes.
severe consequences. And guess
Mhm.
what? Because I did stuff without having a plan. I mean, when I made the decision, like I deserved more, girl, I stepped off that cliff.
Yeah.
I was like, here we go. No parachute, no nothing. It was like, we're going.
Yep.
And it has sucked. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it has been, I have hit those rocks so many times, bouncing down,
But you're still here.
but I'm still here. And that's the funny thing is that I think about is that even during my childhood, I used to get beat for telling my father that God was love and God made the world go round. And he
Wow.
used to tell me how dumb and stupid I was, and I better learn it was money.
Oh shit.
That, those are different things that, like, I grew up with. But the real constant and where my real spiritual journey began is that I started really thinking about all those times of like my faith in knowing that God was with me.
Yes.
That God is, as much as everything was concurrent and constant on the abuse, the fact of the matter is that God was with me.
Yes.
So that's when it kind of changed of the matrix. And I do kind of talk a lot about of the matrix and disconnecting from the matrix, because I stopped reaching out for the conventional help, the type that society said, oh, you need this, or you need this, or you need this.
Yes.
And I was like,
yes.
It's not working. It is not
Yes.
working for me. It is not giving me relief. It is not doing anything for me.
Yes.
And so that is when I kind of was like, there's got to be something. And years and years ago, I had done tarot cards. I had done Oracle. I started thinking about it of like my music interest. Like I was very involved in music, hiking, nature. I was very connected to, and then now I live in a place that there's none of that here, and how disconnected I kind of became. And so it was, well, how do I put that stuff back in? And so as I was kind of researching on it, like sound therapy came to me, and I was like, well, let me look a little into sound therapy. And I had great shifts within me happen, for meditation. It took me over a year to be able to meditate. I could not quiet my mind. I could
Me
not,
too.
just get in. And so,
you and I are soul sisters in that way.
Yeah, it has taken me so long to be able to do that, of learning, but of like prana breathing and different
In
things
different ways, and different things. Because
Yeah.
what I notice in this arena, people will tell you all but I'm just gonna say it. People tell you all kind of bullshit, and it's like, you have to sit cross-legged on the floor with your back straight in order to meditate, or you won't get a connection, all this kind of stuff. So people were saying all these things when I started on this journey too. It was like, what? And I thought about it, I was like, well, what about people that's like paralyzed? They can't sit straight up on the damn floor and all this kind of shit. They still meditate. You know what I mean? I was like, no, that's not right. And it's almost like, as you start going through this information that you're learning, and you start, we all do it. We all follow different people. We find somebody that we resonate with, and we follow them and see what they're talking about and all that. But then you get to this place where you have to realize, what is going to work for me?
Yeah.
Because sitting cross-legged on the floor and all that kind of shit does not work for me, because I got fucking back injuries. So I don't do that.
Well, and
I lay down in the bed and I meditate, or I wash dishes and meditate.
Well, one thing I realized through some of it was the fact that, like, with meditation, I could meditate with my eyes open. I couldn't meditate
Yes.
with my eyes closed. And the reason being is every time I would go through a meta state of in like the abusive states as a kid, I used to close my eyes and I would disappear acting like it didn't happen. Like I could make myself go
So
someplace
you left your
else.
body
I would leave my
at a
body
young age.
at
Yeah,
a young
me too.
age to
Yeah.
do that. But now while I'm sitting here trying to do that meditating, guess what? Now all of a sudden it's all the abuse is coming back. Like all the abuse
Wow.
that I have been through of now that I'm sitting here, now it's flooding me. Now it's like, and so it's like, well, God, I can't because I used that type of meditative state to escape that I couldn't feel the abuse.
Yes, gotcha. Yes.
So I had to
And
switch
that's
that.
very
And
common.
it's what?
Very common. Very common.
Yeah, I would assume so on it. I've talked to a lot of people who of the physical abuse, and they're like, yeah, I used to do that too. And
So do
where
you
it's
work
like,
with people that do that?
I don't work with people yet,
Okay.
really, on it. I'm getting ready to launch, but I have
I mean, is
always,
that what you want to work with people that have dealt with that level of abuse?
yeah,
Okay.
I think I can relate to you.
That's
I've
what
been
I
there.
see. That's why I
I've
asked you
been
that.
there. I've been there. That's why it's like I can relate to people onto that. My first real beating, I was 6 years old, and it was a metal baseball bat.
Oh my shit. Oh, what the world? 6 years old. And you probably was tiny, right?
Sure was.
Mm-hmm.
Sure was.
Ooh.
Yeah. So no, I can relate on those levels. I know what it feels like from the person who's supposed to be protecting you and supposed to be taking care of you. I know
Yes.
that I know that level of betrayal on
Yeah.
such the deepest level
Yes.
of trying to come out that no, yeah, you know,
You are a powerful girl. You're gonna help some people.
yes.
Yeah.
And
I
that is my
mean,
soul.
I feel like women probably really is probably your primary people, but I believe men will come too.
I, you know, I want to work with men. Um, but it is kind of like, I do think that is, when I think about it, spirit does tell me, I think that is a little bit later because
Yeah.
right now my whole issue is I do relate more on all the women issues.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
fact of the matter is like looking at certain things of like I witnessed and I dealt with my sibling, my brother. I do have that relative because he is what activated my mother wound. He was older than me, but I became the caretaker.
Right.
So I have that experience too with that male level of what he was doing. Now, unfortunately, he became a narcissist himself.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's you either go one direction or the other.
Well, when I was 18, well, before that, but I fully separated. So I ran away when I was 16. I left. And then my father left to go work overseas. So my mom called and was like, "You coming home?" And I was like, "He gonna be gone?" And she was like, "Yeah." So I went home. But as soon as he got back, I moved again. I left. And it's kind of funny because my brother called me shortly not after that to tell me how much he hated me and how much I ruined his life. And I couldn't understand it. Tammy, it has taken me 22 years to realize it's because I was his mother. I took that love and that support away from him, but he was telling me that years ago and then created a hateful relationship with me because I wasn't there anymore. I wasn't there to take the abuse away. I wasn't there anymore to do any of that. And he was calling me out 22 years, but I was so naive about it all. It took me 22 years to figure that out. Because I was just like, "Why? How did I make your life? Like, what did I do? I haven't done anything to you, But the reality, I was his caretaker,
And
and
then
I
you just
abandoned
left.
him, and I
Yeah.
just left. I was his regulation. I regulated him. I did all of that for him. I
I
provided
mean,
that.
you think about that, but the thing is, was that even right though?
No,
That's what I
no,
mean. You weren't even, you were younger than him. You weren't supposed to be his mama.
yeah, no. But that's what
So
activated my mother wound, and has led me down quite a few. But I was still so embedded into that mother wound that I didn't realize it. That's why it's like with my healing journey, it's so amazing when you see different things. And when you start learning and you start meditating on certain things of where it's like, that one comment that maybe is just like my brother's comment, it's always bothered me. It's like, why would you call me up and tell me that? And of course I called him out on it for years when we still spoke, and I got no response from him on it. But now, like, sitting there healing that mother wound, it was like that question popped back in my head. And I was like,
Yes.
I get it now. I get what he was trying to tell me. But see, he wasn't able to communicate that either, because his
Right.
inner child, his teen, was also in submission.
So he was just hurt.
He was just hurting. So he was just lashing out at me onto it.
Well, yeah, because hurt people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that's the beauty of recognizing where these wounds come in and how they have played out on different things. And I'm so excited about that path, and to be able to take, I one time had to answer a question, what are you an expert in? And that question was so hard for me.
Wasn't it?
Because, well, I'm sitting there.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
I'm not an expert in anything. Like,
right? In me.
I sat there. Do you know, it took me about 2 weeks to answer that question. 2 weeks. And it like haunted me. Like, every day I sat there and I was like, well, I'm an expert in everything you don't want to be.
I was going to say, I changed mine a few times. I just kept going back and, scratching out and put back.
I kept writing, well, I'm a little bit like, I have knowledge in this, I have knowledge in this, I have knowledge in that. And so, like, I was doing that too. And then finally the one day it just kind of like clicked on me. And I was like, I'm an expert on everything you don't want to know about. I'm an expert on physical abuse. I'm an expert on mental, emotional, verbal, sexual, financial abuse. That is what my life has been about. That is what I'm an expert about. And I can help on all different types of levels. And that was a great, powerful shift within me.
Yes.
Once I owned that.
Yes.
It was powerful to me, of just like, society says this is all bad. But you know what? And that goes into the self-worth, I think, too, because of the fact that, well, if I'm an expert in this and this is all bad, well, then I'm bad. But I'm not bad. So it kind of really made that whole kind of shift of, well, yeah, I am an expert in this, but look at who I am. I didn't let it change me. I didn't absorb it.
I didn't die.
I didn't die,
Yeah.
Because believe me, he told me all the time, he brought me into this world, he'll take me out. And he was crazy enough to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, a kid should not be told how to get rid of a body. And I can tell you the best way to get rid of a body.
Oh, shit. I think about that, and it's like, I don't know about you, but I used to have this conversation with God. I said, now, I don't really think I needed to go through all that. Really. I mean, could you have, I kind of felt like Jesus in the garden, could you have taken this cup from me? I really didn't have to go through all that, and I even asked why. And even though in religion, they tell you not to question God, right?
Except in Job.
But I
Job
asked
questioned
why.
him.
Exactly. Job, I guess he was the only person that could question him according to them.
And so I have felt arrogant that I have been able to ask him that.
I said, why did I, and I was like, and it took a while before I got an answer, but the word was, it wasn't for you. Wasn't for you.
I've never gotten an answer.
It was for them, for those people over there.
Well, they're never going to change. They're never.
Not the people that did it, but the people that need to hear this.
Oh,
the people that you need to help.
That's a great way to look at it. That was
a word I got, because I asked that question. I said, because I was young, going through a lot of shit. And I was like, why did I get picked for this?
I had a lot of resentment. A lot of, why do you hate me? Why don't you love me? Like, I got all these people here not loving me. Then, you're supposed to be almighty and all love.
You're supposed to be God. You're supposed to be God is love.
How and why am I going through? And I didn't have that, but in my healing journey, it has become Well, I guess actually it is kind of the same answer, Tammy, now that I'm kind of thinking about it, because of the fact
Hmm.
that the answer that kind of came to me and where I had to turn kind of gratitude of not that, I'd wish this upon anyone to go
No,
through,
no.
but I am thankful that it did happen because I had the strength and the courage to survive it. I did
Yes,
have the strength and the courage to get through it. I haven't let it change me and I haven't
yes,
let it turn me dark. And yet I now can confess it. I can
yes,
now speak my truth, but my
yes,
truth of this is to help others. It is that
yes.
serving path. So it is kind of the same. It just kind of came to me a little different. But
Hmm.
yeah, I'm thankful for it because I have a lot of experience in a lot of different
Wisdom,
areas,
lots of it.
that lots of wisdom,
Hmm.
lots and lots of wisdom
More than you
to
even realize, it's like, because for me, when I talk to you, I feel like it just oozes out of you.
yeah.
And I don't even know if you're aware that that's how that feels.
What, my healing or
Your wisdom.
oh no, I don't. I'm
Yeah,
just talking.
it just oozes out of you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. No worries. Yeah. I think that's amazing because it's like, you know, people go through things and they can either turn out this way or they can go that way. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? They can go and they can either be the narcissist that they were raised by, or they can go and be the opposite.
Yeah.
And it happens so amazingly when I look at, because this is something I'm so interested in because, I see it in families, it's 5 kids, 7 kids, 3 kids, whatever, but each one of them is different. They one may be like one parent, one may be like the other parent, one may be like none of them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's like that. And it's so crazy to look at that and see that, because in our mind, we're like, well, I'm not going to be a narcissist like them,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, out
But
of
then
three of us, I'm the only one and I'm the black sheep.
yeah, of course you
Like,
are.
yeah, like, everything is fine. Everything is fine and dandy. I even called my father out on the physical abuse one time, trying to make amends, trying to let go. I called my parents out on quite a few things to try to open up the channel and, try to make a communication. You know what I got from him, Tammy?
Nothing.
Who cares I tossed you around like a rag doll?
Oh, so that was perfectly okay.
It was perfectly okay.
Okay. Wow.
And
Because
a
that's what they
devout
did back then.
Catholic, and a devout Catholic at that too.
Mother Mary, Lord
Mother
Jesus.
Mary, devout Catholic. They will never miss a set. Well, they'll never miss a Saturday because they can't get up on Sundays to go to church. They go Saturday evening mass.
That always tickles me so. It's like, oh my God. Like we have somebody that they claim to be an ordained minister, but they're evil. And so we say that they're evil in the name of Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually told to stop talking about the Bible to my parents.
Really? Wow.
I was calling them out on things. I've
Mhm.
always been that one. That's why, and that is why, like, even growing up, I was always like, why? It was always taken out on me the worst. And that was because it took a long time for him to beat my voice, to beat my throat chakra into submission. It took a lot, because I would always call him out. I would always be that one, but he finally made that memory repetition. He finally made that
Wow.
physical repetition of that complex PSD to come where, I still deal with that, when I try to speak up for myself, and going through embodiments, learning different embodiments. But it is, when I go to speak up for any of my needs, wants, or desires, my nervous system becomes completely shaky. And it can
Yes.
be the simplest thing that I am asking for. It is not asking for anything much. I was actually going to, and it still shows that no matter what on a healing journey, you still have healing that you have to do. There's still
Oh,
triggers
yes.
that come up. I was asking for someone the other day for just some paperwork on kind of try to different ways to write something up. And I got triggered. And I'm like, I'm just asking for help. Something that this person, not a single problem of giving me this information, does not care that I would be asking for this information will do it. Like, I know this about this person, is one of the kindest, most sweetest women you'll meet. But it still triggered me because I was asking for a need of like, should I really do this? Should I, on it? And that it triggers. And it still just shows that there's so much on
There's
it.
healing.
It's healing.
Yeah. And the thing is I'm excited for you because it feels like you are on the journey and you're ready for it. You know what I mean? Because so many of us, I ain't gonna lie, I've been on the journey and there are certain parts that I had to still like step back from because I wasn't ready to go into that. I wasn't ready to dive, because for me, I repressed a whole lot of memories from childhood. I don't remember half of my childhood. I repressed them. I don't even know what the hell. And I know that because I just don't remember it. Because my mom's like, do you remember so-and-so? I'm like, no, I don't remember that. And I know I did that. And I don't really know why yet.
Yeah. But
I know that as I approach these different pieces and these different shadows, as they start to come up, there are some that I don't really want to go there. I don't want to do that. I don't want to deal with that. But now as they begin to come up, I know that it's time to transmute them. It's time to transmute them. It's time for them to go. It's time to release, and it's time to embrace it and to release the resistance of that, and
my biggest hang up with it, like, I'm so there, like the mental, the, the emotional, on the physical, my problem is the verbal. Like, and that is still part of my inner team, which is healing, which is something I'm focusing kind of on right now, because your teenager should be expressing themselves. We should not be shutting down our teenagers. They're human beings. They should be speaking, but I don't know how to properly like put some of the stuff into writing. I don't know how to effectively communicate some of it. So that is still, and that's where I'm like, the launch is coming out.
What you're going to do is you're going to channel it through. That's what you're going to do. That's what I'm feeling. You're going to channel it through. It's just going to flow and you're just going to put it down.
Oh, I've started voice recording.
Yes, that's always amazing.
Yeah.
I'm still a writer person. So I still I'll type it up and put it in my notes, and then I have a whole bunch of Word documents where it has 2 sentences because that's what.
No, I have that too.
That came through and I was like, okay, yeah. Oh, wow. Let me write that down. And that's all I got right now. But it's going to flow, because I got like 3 books going right now.
Yeah. Well, I realize that though, that it is kind of more of the mental, and sometimes I'll think all the time, like something will come to me and I'm like, damn, I wish I would have wrote that down, because now I don't remember what it was.
Yep.
And so I was like, you know what?
Notes.
My verbal notes,
I was going to say notes on the phone.
Nope.
I got folders. I got like a folder with ideas that says ideas. And I'll just put that thing, especially when I wake up in the morning, if I, something comes through. Because I set intentions for my magic to come through during the night.
Dreams, they get to me. That's one area I want to learn about. Like, I'm putting that out to the universe, because I have a lot of dreams that I'm the observer. Yeah. Like, I don't know people. And a friend of mine said that I need to ask for the 4D to allow me through.
Yes.
And so I've been doing that. And what's funny? Every time I say that before I go to bed, I don't dream that night.
I kind of had to just step back from that resistance, because I did dream some, but then, so certain things used to happen to me when I was younger. And I asked God to take that away, because I used to see the dead people thing and all that. And I asked God to take that away because it was scary. I was a little girl.
My son used to see dead people.
Yeah. So I said, I don't want to do that anymore. And so now I've gotten to the place where I started asking for those things to open back up. You know what I mean? Because I know I have that connection, but it's crazy how that happens, because it's like, okay, yeah, no, I don't know. And then when you get to this place where you're awakening and you want those things to show up for you, right?
Yeah.
So now you're like, okay, so now I'm open, and I'm surrender. And all the things so that it can open up those particular different portals and stuff for you.
Yeah. Because I think I've always done it. I used to, years ago, before I actually got married, girl, I used to have these intense dreams. I mean, I would wake up with a full physical, emotional, reaction. they weren't really good, dreams. Like there weren't stuff, but like I would wake up full physical, like my ex-husband cheated on me, and I would wake up and you were cheating on me, and he'd be like, girl, it is a dream. Like, what is your problem? Because you know what? The reality of is that happened.
Look.
Yeah.
He told me I put roots on him. He told me I put roots on him. Because I told him where he was. Because I would see it in a dream.
Yeah. Well, see, I didn't have any of those correlations until years later. So it wasn't anything that like happened like right away for me. It was always, I'd wake up and like, I wouldn't know why, but oh my God, I was mad at the world.
So you had serious visceral feelings.
I did. And I want those back. But now I have the dreams of where I'm the observer. I mean, I don't want the angriness back, because I do live my life by the Reiki pillars.
Do no harm.
And well, yeah.
I said, do no harm.
Yep. Well, do not worry. Do not anger. Work diligently. Be humble. And hurt no living creatures. And since I've embraced that and let go of all the stress and the worry, and not to say that I don't worry, stress I don't.
Right.
Stress I don't. Worry, yeah, I'm a Scorpio, overthinker, that's just built in.
Yeah, we know the things.
Yeah, but getting to the point of where that builds the stress, that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Great thing.
That's like a plus.
That's a grateful right there.
To me, that's worth the journey.
And humble. It is, because I used to be so, and that's where the anxiety, the anxiousness, so many of different of those feelings would come on, and I would allow everyone else's, and then go into that I'm a projector. So with only a defined spleen and root, I would take on everyone else's energy, not knowing it. And just, I was walking around time bomb, being angry all the damn time for no reason. Sometimes I wouldn't even know why I was angry.
You know what somebody told me one time? I did a reading with a guy, and he said that that anxiety and depression that you have, it's not yours.
And you were doing the reading?
No, he was reading me.
Oh, okay.
And he said that anxiety and depression you have, it's not yours. He said,
I realize that now too.
He said, you picked that up from all kinds of people. He said, really, all the time. He said, once you know, though, then you can protect yourself. And that's what I started doing, because I did notice that, because I would be feeling so fucking anxious, and I would be, all of a sudden, I'm depressed and shit. And I'm like, what in the fuck am I even depressed about? Let me think of it.
And narcissists, I mean, if you really think about it, narcissists are some of the most wounded.
Oh my God.
If you really truly think about it, they have the most insecurities, they have the most deepest, and I'm not going to say violent or anything like that, because I do think it's kind of more of a psychological issue with the narcissists. But they are the most injured onto those things. So imagine being raised by those two people who did that, and then constantly, like, my spirit, my soul has been at a constant battle my whole entire life. And then having two narcissistic siblings, then marrying, where it has just been constantly of taking on all these people's energy that is not mine, not trying to understand. Because like one thing, like I've never, going back to the question of God, like I'm one of the nicest, kindest people, even though I'm a Scorpio, like I can't even fathom, into some ways, stinging you. Like I would feel guilty. I would feel, even though it could be deserved,
I used to feel that way as a Scorpio.
How you like it?
I have since decided no. Some people need to be stung.
I've gone that way, but it's so hard for me. But then also witnessing all of this hate. Just all of this hate, where it's like there's not one thing in me that I hate. Right. There's not one thing. And so that constant battle, that just constant turmoil.
So you feel like Oprah in The Color Purple? You had to fight all your life?
Fight all my life.
That's the way I feel.
Ironically, my favorite color is purple.
Oh, me too. I told somebody that the other matter of fact, I did a live on that. I said, I have felt like I had to fight my whole life.
I have.
Like, I'm always fighting. And I was like, you know what? I'm tired now.
I am. And I'm not a fighter.
And I decided that I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But I felt that way. It just feel like every time I turn around and I would get this deep anger that I have had. My grandmother told me when I was a child, she was like, you have this anger and you gonna have to release it. That's what she told me when I was a little girl. And I knew I had this anger, just a deep anger, not off the surface, because off the surface, you would never know.
Yeah.
But it's like deep inside, I could feel it like in my solar plexus and shit. And so I was like, okay. And so I had to kind of figure out how to release that and how to let that shit go.
Yeah.
Because it was affecting me. And then I was like, looking, I was like, okay, so no, it's time to stop fighting, because I had felt this, it was like a fight or flight. And when I started watching, what is that one? Dr. Kim Duramo, she talks about mind-body healing. And when she started talking about the fight or flight that we have, and is based on like back 2,000 years ago when the tigers and shit and everything was chasing us and all this, and we still have that within us and we start feeling it, but it's not anything that intense. We're not running from lions and tigers and bears and shit.
Right.
We're just, dealing with all this bullshit that we deal with in our life. And so I started thinking about that and I was like, you know what? I have to find a way to release that, so that I'm not always fighting all the damn time.
See, I did. Now on the fight and the flight. So I'm a flight and I'm a fawn. So I either completely freeze or I go into complete submission because it's just easier. But when I was younger, what would happen when that build up, like a 2-liter and shake it.
Yes.
And I'm going. And I've been known for some outbursts.
See, that was me.
For some
outburst,
crazy,
like a crazy person.
because I wasn't going to constantly fight you. Like I now know, like, that energy was never there to, like, just because it would have been a fight every day.
Yeah.
It would have been a fight every day, and I may not be here speaking to you.
Well, if I would have, imagine me reflecting on everybody.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Because I already have, and I know this about myself. I have people that, you either love me or you don't.
That has always been my saying.
Nothing in the middle.
I used to care.
I did too.
I've always said that about
myself.
I
used to really care. My feelings would be hurt. Now I don't give a fuck. I'm good.
Yeah. My view now, we aren't made for everyone.
Right.
Not everyone should like me.
Who's for me is for me. All right, I got one more question to ask you because I am so interested to hear this, because we could talk. Do you, when you think about ideal clients, because this is something that I've been working through as well with the same thing, we're doing this program. And when you think about your ideal client, this is what came to me. Our ideal client is us. It's us at different phases.
Yeah.
And I was
I've had to think about that.
That thing hit me. I was like, okay, so what would I have wanted at this place? And so that's kind of what hit me. Is like, okay, your ideal client is you.
There's only one client who it bothers me and hates me to say that I wouldn't be able to take on. And that is someone who is actively in it. They're actively going through that physical. And that's just me honoring and recognizing my own energy. Yes. Because as being an empath, I'm going to feel it. I'm going to know, and I'm going to relate too much for them onto that. And I can't take myself back to that.
So you need them when they come out,
you could be the day out
of that. Right.
You can be the day out, and I'm going to make it so you don't go back. I'm going to invest that time and that energy. But if you are still actively, and especially the physical, the psychological, you could have left 2 years ago. And if you're dealing with an ex-partner, you're still dealing with the psychological aspects of it.
Right.
And I'm completely fine on dealing with that. But when it comes down to the physical aspect, I can't be responsible for your well-being on that. You have to own that, and you have to take that. I will pray for you. I will hope that you find that guidance. I hope that my light inspires you.
Right.
For you to find out that you're worth it.
Right.
Onto it. But that's the only thing. And I even hate saying that. I even hate doing that. But I just know me, that if something did happen, I couldn't live with myself.
Right.
Like, that it would hurt me way too much to know that I could have helped someone. But also within my journey, because of where I've gotten in a lot of trouble, is trying to help those who don't want help,
Yep.
waiting for that invitation. There have been many people in my life that I see it. I'm a projector. I have the 1858 channel, and what that means is that we see things. I see things differently. I can look at
Yeah.
you and in a physical thing, and I can analyze you, and I can tell you, okay, well, you need to do this, this, and this, and this. But if you aren't open to do that,
Yeah.
you're not going to take my advice, and you're just going to think I'm an arrogant bitch. Who is she?
I call that casting your pearls among the swine.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that no more.
I'm not doing it anymore.
I was like, you know what? No. Because the people that need you
Are going to
are
find
going
me.
to ask you, they're going to
Yeah.
give you an invitation.
They're going to give me an invitation. And so that is the only, any other client, male, female, even kids,
Right.
that's honestly a passion of mine, of to kids to even recognize and see some of it
Yeah.
on, I'm inspired, having a teenager myself and a young adolescent child, um, making that awareness to them, making them, I mean, it really does inspire me for our humanity,
Yeah.
because there are so many more awoken younger children, and
Yeah.
then us of our generations kind of coming to this. It
Yeah.
gives me hope.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
gives me that hope of like, you know what, we might be all right.
I was going to say, every time I talk to my boys, and then I interviewed a young man, I think his show comes up, I think it's this Saturday, but he was 24 years old. He's amazing. 24.
Yeah.
Already making 6 figures.
Yeah.
And got a business. I mean, his job.
Yeah.
And he got a business. And he was amazing. And just to talk to him, just to hear, how positive he was about the future and everything. And it was just awesome, and just, I love when I get to interview those young people like that. I love it. I'm like, wait a minute, you're how old? And you
I
did
died
what?
laughing. I
You
died
already bought you
laughing
a
at my
condo?
job. I died laughing at my job. I a lot of older people, older generation, patients. They come in and they just talk about all these young people, about how that they're just, lazy. They just don't know how to work. They don't know. And I sit there and I just die laughing. And I'm like, no, they just aren't on the pyramid. They
Right.
work
And they're just not trying to kill themselves doing some shit they don't enjoy.
that they don't need to do.
I love that about this generation. I ain't
I
gonna
love
lie, I
it.
love it. When I talk to them, because I interviewed a young girl that was 19. And I didn't know she was that young, but she was 19 and she's a braider. Well,
Yeah.
she's got a braid university where she teaches mothers how to braid the children's hair.
Look at that, so yeah, I love listening to these
I
older
mean,
the older generation of, they're not pulling their weight.
child,
No,
these
they're
children
making
are,
generations of new growth. They're
yes.
making new opportunities. Some of these old ways of doing it, we don't need them.
No, they're shifting the planet.
It is there's going to be that massive switch and stuff. So yeah, I love, and so I just die laughing, and they'll be like, don't you think so? And I'm like, no. And they just look at me and I'm just like, we're not even going to have this conversation. Not
No.
even. Have a great day.
Right? Because I love them. I think they're making the changes that we need in this planet.
I think
And
so
they're
too.
not, because I think about it. You look at how many people work these jobs 30, 40, 50 years that they fucking
For
hate
what?
for nothing.
For nothing.
Mhm.
What, to have a bad back? What, to
Yeah.
have hurt legs,
Uh-huh.
to have hurt knees, to have to I actually saw a statistic today that the average retirement in America is 60. Do you know what the average death is?
65.
75.
Same difference.
So so you work, all these years, and you don't even get the same time frame to be able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then also look at nowadays with the financial and stuff. Are you even going to have the money?
Not here.
Not here.
I was gonna say, I have a friend. She moved from here. She lives in Ecuador. She says she pays $420 a month for a 3-bedroom condo.
I've always felt like I belong across the pond. I don't belong here. Like, I've always felt that. I've always felt like a call, like, this is not
my
it.
home.
This is not it.
I told somebody, I said, I don't belong here. this is not where I'm supposed to be. I said,
Mm-mm.
because for one thing, I've always been the black sheepish too.
Yeah.
Always. I'm still that. That's why I live on the West Coast, and everybody that all my family's back east.
I'm still on the East. We're from, if any people don't know, also, we are actually from, ironically, I live in the same area she moved away from.
It was so neat. I was like, what? I used to live in Columbia.
Right up the road.
Right up the road. I know, it's so neat. It's so awesome when you find that. And that's one thing that I love about social media, because social
Yeah.
media gets a bad rap and all that. But I've met some amazing people on social media, and I have some really good friends now on social media.
I am
And
so grateful for
isn't it?
and it's funny because I don't like technology. It's something I'm having to grow to love. But
Yeah.
in my spiritual journey, the fact of the matter is that all these beautiful, like I thank God every day for all these women who have come into my life, because they are the support, they are the caring, they are that love, that
Yeah.
is that nurturing of what I've always wanted. And the sad part about it, Tammy, is I still don't have that in my physical world,
Right.
but I have it virtually.
Yeah.
And I know that when they post, I know that it's coming from a great place. Like, I
There's
don't doubt that. I don't question that. I don't anything of, well, we've never met, so they're just,
lots of us like that.
no. And I feel that connection. And I am so
Yes.
thankful because it has elevated me
Yeah.
very quickly on my journey, of seeing I'm not alone. And I think that's one
Yes.
of the things us healers do deal with a lot, is that we are quiet about our stories because we
Yeah.
think we're alone.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you do create a community and when you become a part of it, you
Yeah.
realize we we aren't that similar. I mean, different. We are
Yes.
very similar. We all have the same path. We've all been through traumatic experiences. We're just choosing to put light back into the world instead of letting
Yes.
it eat us inside.
Yes. That's absolutely. And I totally agree with that, because it's like, we already feel, I don't know about you, but I felt like a unicorn my whole life. And I
Yes.
love unicorns. And I felt that way. Then, so when they told me that I was a reflector and, no defined centers or nothing like that, I was like, okay, I can see that. And then I thought I said, I sing and I can almost imitate anybody's singing. I could do that my whole life.
That's
I
that's
never
pretty great.
realized, I never thought about it. It's just something I've always done,
Ooh, I wonder if people who do voiceovers and stuff like that on those, I wonder if they're
if they're
reflectors.
reflectors. It makes you wonder, right?
It does. See, and that's
Mhm.
another part about that I love about this healing part, is that, some people can think it's all mumbo jumbo. They
Right.
they can think it all. But the fact of the matter is if you look at the scientific community, it is
Yes.
wakening up to the facts of the quantum fields. It is waking
Yes.
up to the energy aspects. It is all waking up, that I think that, give it 10 years, and what we are teaching now, what we are learning, it's going to
Yeah.
become a regular in schools.
Yep. That's what I was thinking. I was saying the same thing. And it needs to be,
It is.
because like
And I think it's going to be.
my grandson loves crystals. He's
Yeah.
11 and he
Yeah.
loves crystals. So I sent him a crystal Bible for kids or something. And I sent him some nice crystals and stuff, some starter ones, like some grounding ones and stuff like that, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah. Well,
I'm like,
with the Reiki, like I do some with my youngest son, and he feels it. He can feel, with his hands stuff. He gets really excited, and everything. And then of course my older son, has become closed off to things. He's the one who used to be able to see dead people. He's become very closed off. He's like, yeah, that's just friction.
he probably asked not to see it too.
He probably did. He also had an imaginary friend as a child who
Yeah.
used to keep me up at night because of the fact he would talk so real about all of it. I did think some dude named Josh was coming into my his window in the middle of the night. But it's funny because like he cuts him off on it, and I'm like, all right, Karate Kid. And he's like, yeah, what? I'm like, Miyagi, that's what he was
Wax on,
doing.
wax off.
Yeah, and he's like, Mom, that's just a movie. Yeah, baby, we're gonna open that mind. We're gonna expand it.
Yeah.
But like my younger son eats it up.
But how old
The,
is he though? The
my
older one.
youngest is 9,
How's the older one?
14.
Oh yeah. That's that age,
Yeah.
because they have all those things going on, hormones and all kinds of crap. And then they got all this stuff from everywhere now. social and TV and friends and all the people and all the stuff. And they start going through all kind of changes. Lord, I remember 14.
Yeah, but but it's funny because of some of the stuff of how schools have changed. Because so when I first started getting into the energy, I did kind of look up some of the, the scientific aspects of it. And I was like, well, I think I learned about that kind of in school. I did kind of get an introduction to it. And then
Yeah.
him and I were talking about it. And he was like, no, I haven't studied that. I haven't studied that. I haven't studied that. And I was like,
Well, why not?
Yeah, you should have. So it's kind of, but I think it's all coming back. I think it's going to be because science is getting on with it. They're seeing it. Have you ever heard of, and I always say it wrong, and anyone who watches this, do this because it is phenomenal, but it is focused force life energy. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
No credit. Focused force life energy.
Okay.
No credit card needed. You can do 2 trials, one on your cell phone, and you can do one on your house. But of David Hawkins with the level of consciousness map.
Yeah.
They are formulated 100% behind it. And they have the technology to send that energy to raise the consciousness of your house to at least 560. They can send it to your phone, that you can have it, and that it will expand to a 3 feet radius. I didn't tell anyone at my job that I had it on my phone. It was hilarious watching the negative Nancy's at my job stay the hell away from me that week.
That's nice. I like that.
Stayed away from me. That actually now I actually have the subscription on my phone. So they stay away. Because anyone that comes into your field will be affected by it.
Okay.
But you can choose to have it at your house. And so it also does your yard. Girl, it also supposedly it raises your immunity. It raises all these things. There's all these studies. They contact you daily on different things. They give you pointers of even
nice.
how to speak to meditation, because they're all on spiritual. Jeffrey and Clayton, who are the guys who do it, they are all spiritual. They follow the whole David Hawkins and every aspect of it. And it's just it's powerful, and everyone should do it. And imagine what would happen is if we actually raise the consciousness up to love all the time.
That means that this whole planet will shift. That's what we need.
Yeah. So it's my mission right now to tell as many people about this as possible.
Yes.
Because it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not.
Well, the thing is just like people talked about the Bible and stuff like that. Well, you can believe it if you want to, and you don't have to believe it.
And he tests the Bible.
But it still is, right?
Yeah.
It still is. Whatever. It
was written by a man, so therefore it exists.
I was going to say, even people talk about God. Okay, you can believe in God or you cannot, but he still exists.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter whether you believe or not.
Yeah. You're going to find out one day.
I actually told somebody that one day. I said, they said, "Will you believe in God?" I said, "Of course." I said, "Without God, I would not be here." I said, "I almost left this earth a few times."
Well, when I was in my religious moments, because I'm a cradle Catholic. I was born and raised, Catholic, and trying to honor my parents and trying to make them happy. I did.
Yeah.
I was in it for a while, but I had an atheist friend who would always just tell me how dumb and stupid I was, that I believed in God. And I finally one day looked at him and I was like, let me ask you this. If you get to the pearly gates and there's no God, well, then you're fine. What happens though when you get to the pearly gates
and there is one
and you didn't believe in God? Then what? And he had no answer for me. He actually stopped speaking to me after that, but but that's the true reality. What does it hurt you to have a higher being? What does it hurt you?
How could you not?
Yeah. I mean, and
you didn't create your damn self.
For women who don't believe in God, who have had babies, how can we grew a baby? We have a life portal. That amazing feeling of that child growing inside of you.
Yeah.
How can you not believe in God?
I don't get it. I don't. I mean, because I think that, with my second baby, I almost died. They did not know what was going on with me.
Yeah. I hemorrhaged on with my first, almost died. He got stuck.
See, and C-sections with both emergency. So they let me labor like 25 with one, 27 with the other one, and then cut them out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I'm like, I remember because the doctor called my ex-husband and said, you need to come home because you need to get your baby because your wife is dying. And so I was like, okay. So I think about that and I'm like, yeah, no, I nobody could ever tell me anything. I love God. Period.
Well, it's just how can I just, because he's always been my constant.
Yeah, me too.
Are there moments we have fought?
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Lots of them.
Are there moments that I'm like, I don't know you?
Right.
Yes.
No, are there moments of like, what you doing? I need some help here.
I have fully felt like Job in many times in the Bible.
Many
times. And I have felt that arrogance of that I have the right to question you.
Yes.
I have felt that I have that connection.
Yes.
With God. I've always felt that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, people, I think you can come and go on it, but you have to, when you sit back and you really think of some of the traumas that you've been through.
Yes.
And think how and why you are here.
Yes.
It's because you have a purpose.
Yes.
And you haven't met it.
Yes.
I've had quite a few near-death experiences.
Yes.
Too many that I'd like to actually share.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I am still here because I have not completed my soul contract. I am here because I have not completed my mission.
Because you didn't die.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh my God, I tell you what. So we're going to shut down here. What I want you to do is I want you to share with the people how they can connect with you.
All right. Well, right now, because again, I'm launching, so I'm getting ready. So I am Megan Marie on Facebook. I am Beautiful Soul Life on Instagram. And soon the Megan Marie will be launching into Peace, Love, and Light Healing. And I will have my website up and going.
I'm so excited. That is so much fun. Yeah. So Megan and I have had a blast with you today. Yes. Thank you so much for watching or listening, wherever you are in the world. And we just appreciate you. So straight out of Savannah, if you are changing the planet and you would like to come on this show, please send me a message, reach out to me. You'll see all my details in the description of the video or the audio. Megan's details will also be in there, how you can reach out to her. So I'm just super, super grateful that you have chosen to watch us. And wherever you're watching, make sure that you subscribe, like, and share, and all those good things for us. And we will definitely be back on again. And Megan and I are going to do some stuff as well, because this is so much fun. So get ready, get ready, get ready.
Lots coming.
All right. So thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
I know you've been blown away with the amazing value here today. Now go out and inspire the planet. And be sure to send us a message when you're ready to come talk about it on Straight Outta Savannah, Talking with Tammi.
Hello, this is Tammi, and I would love it if you would join me for my Healing Forward Masterclass. It is going to be so fabulous. We are going to have healing activation. It is going to be incredible. When you leave, you are going to feel like new money. So join me on my Healing Forward Masterclass at August 31st at 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Reach out to me and send me a message and let me know that you are interested, and I will send you the link. It is only $37 for this healing activation masterclass. It's going to be phenomenal. You will feel like you are walking on the clouds when you finish. So thank you so much for that. And if you are interested in having your own personal healing session, reach out to me for that as well. So thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for listening to this amazing, amazing podcast. Bye now.